Everybody, again with derivatives and related accounting issues. Let us start to discuss what's accounting treatment for derivatives, and in this video we will start by learning objective number 1, state the general characteristics of a derivative instrument and define underlying and notional amount. In this video we will talk in general about derivatives and related accounting issues. We can say the use of a derivative instrument has increased among both financial and non-financial corporations. Any company around the world may use it. Not only financial companies use it, such as banks or financial market or whatever. Also, any merchant around the world can use financial instrument. Any factory can use financial instrument, and we will discuss later on why they need to use it. Also, these instruments derive their value from changes in the price or rate of related assets or liability. It's so important point. Now you have to be careful. The financial instrument derive the value not because the value of the goods itself, but we derive the value of instrument from the changes, from the fluctuation of the prices. For example, may we acquire forward contract to buy 100,000 or $1 million in the future after 1 month. This is financial instrument. We enter into contract to buy something in the future. Now later on we will distinguish between a future contract and forward contract, but here let me say it in general. We acquire or we enter to acquire or to buy $1 million or $100,000 after 1 month. Now to take this right or to enter into this contract, may you need to pay something. If it is may take, for example, may we acquire option. Option means we take the right to buy. To take this right, you have to pay certain amount of money. For example, $1,000. You have to pay it down to acquire or to take the option to acquire, not to acquire, to take the option to acquire. For that, this is the meaning of this instrument. Financial instrument derive the value from changes, because the change of prices of the currencies, for example, or wheat or grains or whatever you acquire or enter into forward contract or future contract to acquire, the value of the derivatives will change because of the changing in the goods itself. For that, this is the meaning. The instrument derive their value from changes in the price or rate of related assets or liability. Assets, may you enter into forward contract to buy something, so it will be as assets, or to sell something, so it will be as liability. Next point is derivative instrument may held be as investment. We enter into this forward contract, or we buy the future contract, or we buy the option to make investment. This is the first alternative. May we acquire financial instrument for, or we acquire these financial instrument to speculate, or we can say part of a strategy to reduce or hedge against exposure to risk associated. It's so important point, and many merchant or factories use it. Now, I have a payment in the future. For example, I have to pay $100,000 after 1 month. Now the point is, I fear of the fluctuation in the exchange rate of US dollar. For that, may I enter to forward contract or future contract or acquire option to minimize the exposure risk. How we minimize it? When I enter to forward contract to buy something, to buy $100,000, so in this case I will acquire the 100,000 by fixed price. I know maybe it's not clear enough, but we will clarify this point later on in the coming video. Now the point is, we enter into a derivatives instrument, or we buy financial instrument to protect ourselves against the fluctuation of exchange rate or prices, and to make investment. Two alternatives may push us to acquire the financial derivatives. Now the point, in the past, at that time in 1990, derivatives instruments were not recorded on the balance sheet. Right now I'm talking about financial instrument in general. In the coming videos we will talk about it in somehow of details. Before in 1990, something around this, derivatives instruments were not recorded on the balance sheet. But later on, this accounting treatment has many problems, because we don't disclose about the fluctuations or gain or loss that occurred because of entering into different kinds of instrument. Later on, this off balance sheet treatment, this point, derivatives were not recorded, has been changed, and right now we have to record it according to accounting standard board and according to international financial reporting standard, and that what we are going to learn how to record it, how to value it, and how to disclose it. Let us talk about characteristics and types of derivatives. Now let us take it one by one. Financial instrument represents a right through contractual agreement between two opposite parties called counterparties. Now we have agreement. This is the point. When we talk about options, about forward contract, future contract, anything, we are talking about agreement. Any agreement has two parties, two opposite parties. Okay, this is first one. We have parties. These parties agreed to enter into this contract to receive or to deliver cash or another financial instrument on potentially favorable or unfavorable terms. Now these parties, one of them agreed to sell, one of them agreed to buy. I agreed to buy 100,000 after 1 month, and he agreed to sell me $100,000 after 1 month. For that, we are two parties. We are two opposite parties. One of them agreed to sell, one of us agreed to buy. This is first part. Financial instruments include cash, equity, and debt investment, and derivatives. Now, may you agree to buy or sell currencies as US dollar? May you agree to sell stocks or shares? May you agree to sell goods such as corn or wheat or whatever? You can make any kind of agreement you like if you find the opposite parties who agree to sell you this product or to buy from you the product you offer. In general, we have future markets. When in these future markets you have organized agreement, I will show you them in the coming slides. Let us move to next point. Derivatives is a type of financial instrument that has several distinguishing characteristics that have been set forth by the FASB or IFRS. Both of them has similar characteristics of derivatives. Let us see them one by one. First one, derivatives, its value from changes in the rate or price of related assets or liability. The rate or price is known as underlying. Now, we don't buy the asset itself. We don't buy the 100,000. Only I enter the contract or agreed to buy it in the future, or we bought the option to buy or to take the right to buy or to sell the 100,000 in the future. Right now, from today until the end of the month, may we sell or resell or buy the contract itself many times. So the contract or the option takes its value from the fluctuation in the exchange price of the US dollar, from the fluctuation of the grain if we enter to buy or to sell grains, from the fluctuation of the shares if we have option to share or to buy shares in the future in a certain time of period. For that, the first characteristics is value from, or derive its value from changes in the rate or price. Next point, the quantity or number of units specified by derivatives is known as the notional amount. Notional amount means that we have future contract or forward contract to buy $100,000. So the $100,000 is the notional amount. We agreed to sell, for example, 100,000 ton of corn. So the 100,000 ton of corn is the notional amount. By $100,000, the $100,000 is the notional amount. Next point, third characteristic, is requires little or no initial investment upon inception. When we agree to enter into forward contract or future contract, it's not necessary to pay the total amount of agreement. For example, we have entered into a future contract to buy $1 million after 3 months. So it's not necessary to pay the cost of the $3 million that you intend to buy it after 3 months. May only if you, for example, sign option to buy this amount, you have to pay the cost of the option itself. Or if you have future contract or forward contract, it's not necessary to pay the whole amount. Only you have to pay something like a guarantee to execute the contract or a forward contract or a future contract on the execution date. Fourth one allows for net settlement in the derivatives contract can be settled in exchange for cash without having to actually buy or sell the related assets or liability. Now, on the date of execution, it's not necessary to deliver the cash itself. May you only take it's not necessary to pay the cost of the $1 million, and somehow may you only pay the changes or the difference between the agreement price and the execution price on the settlement date. For that, you will pay the margin between the intrinsic value and the execution value of the agreement. In general, these are the characteristics and characteristics of derivatives. Let us move on to the next point, the rates or prices that relate to assets or liability underlying the derivatives are referred to as underlying. We discussed it. Next one, it's important to note that the underlying is not the assets or liability itself, but rather its price or rate. I clarified it previously. Now the point, underlying make a variety of form, including commodity price, stock price, foreign currency exchange rate, or interest rate. It's important to note that the underlying is not the assets or liability itself. As I mentioned before, we derive the price of the financial derivatives or financial instrument from the fluctuation of the assets itself or liability itself. We are not talking about the cost or the price of the assets or liability itself. In the coming video, we will start to discuss what's the accounting treatment of a future contract, forward contract, option, and swap. Let us move on and see you there.